Oh, careful, careful!
This whole 3-year wrestle plan. You think you'd have a job for me?
Job? Alyx, you invented the Alyx. Of course you can have a job.
We'd be partners.
Oh, well, Well, there would be stock options. 5 to 10 year vesting period, obviously. Could be very lucrative for you, Alyx, in the long term.
I don't know what any of that meant, but sounds good.
Yep, sounds good. Alyx?
These guys have automatic weapons.
They're alien commandos. Of course they have automatic weapons. We'd have them too, but combine weapons are gene-coded, so out of luck. Unless you find one that's unbonded, or you're open to some minor genetic modification.
I'm good, Russ. I'm just gonna roll with these genes that I've got.
Wow, my gun's looking pretty good.
Russ, come on. At this point, it's kind of our gun.
I still use a Valve Index at home for VR. It's a convenient package and it's easy for my aging RTX 3080 to drive, but there is no doubt that the rest of the industry has left Valve, and therefore me, completely behind. Which I guess means it's time to go shopping! Our first candidate is Pimax with the Crystal Super, a monster of a headset with specs to match. Each eye gets a whopping 3840 by 3840 of resolution across a 120-degree field of view. They claim that this is the first Retina-grade VR headset. And there's more to love than just the resolution. Pancake lenses are super compact, which is cool. But if you've got the space, which they clearly do, their single-element lens offers much better light transmission, which enables their claimed 280 nits of peak brightness. Now, that doesn't sound like much compared to the brightest TVs or phones, but when you're in a completely darkened environment, trust me, that's a lot. Now, there's no support for HDR at this time. That's gonna have to wait for their upcoming HDR-capable micro OLED headset later this year. But to improve their contrast at least, they've got 1,000 local dimming zones per eye. I can't wait to try this. And neither can our sponsor.
Wicked cushions.
The head strap is thoughtfully designed, and once you've got the rear and top dials adjusted, should be really quick to jump in and out of. Apple, you could stand to take some notes here. It's got integrated speakers and a microphone, built-in eye tracking, and automatic IPD adjustments. So you just throw it on and, oh, wait, you might actually want to decide if you prefer a foam or a silicone-style gasket. This one's actually for their older headset, but is just for illustrative purposes. Time to jump in. Hold on a second, let me just check. Wow. You know, I was trying to use my hack where I can kind of like peek through the bottom of the headset to see my teleprompter or whatever. I cannot. I have no idea what my notes say. Comment on comfort. Oh yeah, pretty good. Personally, if I was to design it, I would probably make this piece of foam at the back a little more curved. You can see it kind of sits up off of my skull. I do have a smaller head. I wear a small size motorcycle helmet, so your mileage may vary, but I do get a bit of a pressure point on the back of the head. Nothing crazy though, and I suspect it would get a little bit better with some break-in. I get a little bit of pressure also on my proud Roman nose. Other than that, pretty good. So the keen-eyed among you might have noticed that there's no lighthouses around me. That's because the Crystal Super can be used either with outside-in tracking with an optional faceplate, or with their own custom SLAM algorithm inside-out tracking. They admit that the inside-out tracking is not as good as outside-in, but they found that for racing and flight sim, most of their customers are happy with it. Personally, I've already noticed that it's a little disorienting and nauseating, but your mileage may vary. I especially noticed it when I was moving around and I could see slight tracking errors in the cockpit, but I'm pretty sensitive to that, and it's my job to notice these things. So my next point says after gaming. So that means I get to actually game for a bit. Wow, this sim platform is something else. I am going to die. Okay, I am not going to be setting any lap record times. So hopefully we can all agree on that. Bloody hell, does this ever look good. Oh no, I'm gonna die. Yep, it's a good thing they limit how hard this this wheel can pull on you. I can tell it was gated there because otherwise it was gonna rip my arm off. This is some of the strongest force feedback that I have ever felt. My immersion level is extremely high, Andrew. Extremely, oh God, I'm gonna die again. What really stands out to me is the clarity of like text. Like everything is readable. This looks, the screen on the steering wheel, oh lordy, looks like a screen in front of me. I wanna reach out and touch the dials. All right, I'm actually gonna stop, go a little bit slower. I just wanna get a chance to kinda check things out. Getting a little bit of yellow fringing below objects where there's very high contrast, say in the shaded area under a tree against the sky. Little bit of blue fringing above high contrast objects. Pimax says that they do still have some work to do on the optics. They're still a little ways away from release on this thing. As for the dimming zones, I wasn't expecting to be able to pick those out in actual content. Oof, and I'm dead. Cool. But the good news is, in actual content, I would have thought I'd need something more along the lines of a bright object moving on a black background to pick them out, but hey, if you don't notice them in actual content, I guess that's a good sign. And as for the audio, this clearly isn't the best environment to evaluate it, but I can hear it, so that's something. I haven't even shown you guys the best part yet. The optical module can be popped out and swapped. At launch, they're planning 2 versions, the one that I used today, and a second one that has the same panels, but different lenses that push the FOV to a whopping 135 degrees. That is gonna cost you some pixel density, but it should make for an incredibly immersive experience. Now, sadly, the last feature of the Crystal Super is that you can buy it outright without any subscription. I hate that I have to bring that up, but they are right that it does differentiate them from some of their peers in the VR space. Of course, the one-time payment is a lot though, which means that I do want to explore my other options. Next up is the Shift-All Magny X Superlight 8K, and even though I've only walked about 5 paces, I feel like I've stepped straight into the future. Like the big screen Beyond, which my bearded doppelganger checked out about a year ago, it's an ultralight, goggle-style headset that's aimed squarely at Steam VR users who are desperate for an upgrade to their aging Vives and Indexes. So you've got out-of-the-box support for Vive wands and Knuckles controllers, as well as outside-in lighthouse tracking, but unlike the Beyond, the Magny X 8K is packed with features. Here it is all rigged up with the single USB-C tether and their head strap. I'm talking motorized IPD adjustment, eye relief adjustment, so that's the distance from your eyes to the screen, a magnetic gasket for quick sanitary swaps depending on user preference, and even the ability to remove the gasket entirely, which, combined with their little flip-up feature like this, is great for developers who need to quickly switch between working in VR and working in regular R. Here on the bottom, they've got individual diopter adjustments for each eye, with support for custom lenses for stronger prescriptions, and they've even got mounting points for open source face tracking and eye tracking hardware. I mean, anything that you can hook up to a USB 2 Type-C port, or you cannot do any of that and you can just plug in your headphones. Anything USB. Now, this does come at a cost to weight. It's about 40% heavier than the Beyond at 179 grams, but here's the thing. I have a Beyond collecting dust in my home, and the reason I don't use it is that an individually fitted device just doesn't work in a household that has multiple VR users. And solving that is worth 50 G to me. 50 grams, not 50 grand. Don't get any ideas about the pricing. We'll talk price later. First, we game. I only play Beat Saber, so I don't know any other games.
Oh, well, this is VR Chat, so it's a social VR platform. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Okay, I know what VR Chat is.
You know what VR Chat is. Okay, anyways. So
I'm just saying, don't expect me to be good at anything other than Beat Saber.
there's nothing to do here. It's just a visual enjoyment game, I guess. So you just got to throw it on, and then you're going to be able to perceive the optics.
And I guess that's fine, because the optics and the screens are the main story here. Each eye is getting a 3840 by 3552 micro OLED panel. That means the same inky blacks and incredible contrast that you would get from an OLED anywhere. And because of the resolution, wow, is it ever sharp. I don't know if it quite matches the sharpness of the micro LED we just looked at, but it's also an apples to oranges comparison, and your micro OLED here through a pancake lens is not going to be quite as bright as what we just looked at, and contrast can have a surprising impact on the perceived sharpness of an image. Now, on the subject of pancake lenses, just like the big screen Beyond, I do notice a little bit of internal reflections. There's no way you're going to get away from that with a pancake, but to my eye, it seems like they might have improved it a little bit. Is there anywhere where I can look at an even brighter object? Or are these lanterns the best I'm going to get? Probably the fire? I mean, that makes sense. It's easiest to notice when you have a point light source, because the reflections are only really visible against dark backgrounds. So this is a fairly favorable environment for them. I do pick them up though. There are 2 more compromises I see. One is that we're still limited to 90 Hertz, just like older generation headsets. But after seeing this demo, and the last one for that matter,